It's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The poppers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome to Middle Path Thursdays. That's right, on Thursdays we do Middle Path, which is a show for our spiritual enlightenment and upliftment in the most down-to-earth and applicable ways possible. We like to be real here, keep it real here. We're still here on Earth, right? So we better act like it and not pretend like we are something other than what we actually are right here, right now. Being honest is the best we can be. I know I've probably been saying this every show, but we keep getting thunderstorms, we keep getting rain each day, and like, it is perfect. I mean, it's like 87, 90, but it's still hot, but it just feels so much better when you get this like cool down that rolls in. It's not just like hot all day and all night, and it's so nice where I'm at. I hope it's nice where you're at. I know some places it's probably not so nice, so maybe may you get relief in whichever ways are best for you wherever you are at. This show is for supporters only. On Thursdays, we do a supporter-only show, Middle Path, and so we dive deep into some beautiful, awesome, amazing rabbit holes and spiritual dens and caves. We go searching for the treasure, and it's awesome fun. It's so good to see already a bunch of people over on Rockfin, which is where you can see this streaming the whole time. I am now streaming to Rumble, but Rumble, I don't think yet lets me do it just for supporters only, so I will be, stopping this stream on Rumble just like I will stop it on YouTube, on Facebook, or anywhere else you might be watching or listening to this, just in a few minutes after we talk about a few other things. But it is always streaming on Rockfin. Everything I do is always streaming on Rockfin, and it is for supporters on Thursdays. And a couple other times, we've also had 2 other supporter-only content videos this week. The tarot reading for August, which is a little rough, and and also a show we did with Matt Raymer, who's always so fun to catch up with. So those are, of course, available to you if you're a supporter over on Rockfin as well. Also, if you're on Apple Podcasts, I put the audio out for supporters only on Apple Podcasts, so you can support the show as well, even if you're just a listener, which is awesome. I don't mean just a listener. I love you guys all the same. I just meant if you get audio only, you can find it there on Apple Podcasts and be a supporter in that way too. And I do appreciate your guys' support so much. It keeps coming up that I would like to also remind myself and you that it is good to share value back where you find it. So whether you're a short time watcher or listener, you just found the show, or you've been doing it for years, it is nice for me to receive from you in exchange for what I give, because I do 2 free shows a week minimum every week, and sometimes even more than that. And I also have plenty of content I share in other ways. In the Telegram chat, I'm chatting with people over on Locals. You can join for free and not be a supporter, and you can get content there as well. So there's a lot I do for free, and I love it when I get to receive back. And I know some people can't afford to share anything, and so I love your comments. I love your, when you reach out and connect via email or from the site, you leave me a message. I keep getting that lately because I think people heard me on Sam Tripoli. We were both lamenting how much more frequently it seems people are willing to share their criticisms and attacks than they are their praise. And I think after that, we both got a lot more love. People were like, no, we love you. And I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. So that also is another way to support. You can also share with people. Tell people about the show. I am positive you know somebody who might enjoy or get something out of Rogueways or Middle Path. So you can share with them on podcasts, on Spotify, on any of these platforms where the videos are. All of that for you. I appreciate you all so much. There's tips you can share. There's a buy me a coffee link somewhere in there. If you go to the link tree, that is probably the first link below wherever you're watching or listening to this. There's just a million ways you can share back. And so I just appreciate you all. Dakota, thank you so much for your tip over in Rockfin. And we also have Dara here today. Hello. Hope you are as well. Oh, good. Yes, I hope you are as well. Well as well. And Dakota hopes everyone is having a beautiful Thursday. Well, now I'm just throwing pens around. I have a lot of energy, and you know what's wild about that? I don't really do caffeine anymore. I've been on this very stringent, the clean diet. You've probably heard me talking about it. I did that for about 3 weeks. I'm technically still doing it, I guess. Yeah. I didn't mean to, but I just feel so good that I just basically kept doing all the things I've been doing. And I just have a fucking lot of energy now. You can compare this to other shows I've, especially like maybe last year or even before then. I would especially have shows where I'd be like really kind of confused the whole time, because Hashimoto's is a fucking bitch in ways that people will not understand unless you've researched it deeply or know someone who's going through it. There are things you would never expect are controlled by your thyroid that just when they fail, you're like, what the hell? I think I shared this before, but it's telling. It's so telling for me because I just didn't even understand what was happening. My handwriting was getting like worse and worse. And I was like, I mean, can I not write anymore? Like, is this getting old? It's always getting old to me. I always forget that it's probably Hashimoto's. Am I getting old? Like, why would my handwriting look so bad? You know, especially like, I think most of us girls, since we were young, like practice our handwriting. Like we have a style and like that's our, and I no longer could do that. And if you've bought anything from me in the past year, you may have been like, man, her handwriting is really shitty. I had no idea. Then I started dropping things left and right. Like I just did the pen, dropped bowls and like caps and all this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening to me? And finally, thank God, my dear friend who also suffers with thyroid disorder was like, oh yeah, your thyroid controls your dexterity. I was like, holy fuck, like no one tells you this shit. Nobody fucking tells you this shit. So I'm just dropping shit. My handwriting's deteriorating. I'm feeling like I'm just like a piece of shit somehow. Like, no, it's just this. It's just this thing I have no control over. So I do have control over it actually, and I am actually healing it. So yeah, anyways, that's my random tangent about dropping pens and, you know, the things that I feel like I have so much energy today and I am so grateful for that. I think Johnny is finding out, my love is finding out that I don't have to drink massive amounts of caffeine to have this level of like, blah! Like that's actually my natural state. So the healthier I get and the less caffeine I have and the more my thyroid heals, the more I'm back to my like, blah! So, anyways, it's pretty fun. And yeah, there's thunder outside. Maybe you'll hear it if it gets loud enough. We've got 7-Eleven Lucas, Serena Del Mar, and Kelly Boyles over in the chat. I love it. Oprah. We're talking about Oprah now. Oh, Oprah used to talk about thyroid health. Yeah, Oprah's so interesting because I'm like positive she eats babies now. Maybe she always did, but she literally saved my life and she also saved my friend's life. Totally different ways too. And so I have this like love, like I can't help it. And I didn't like her even. I would never have watched Oprah. I was like way too like hardcore and like grunge and punk and then skater and then, you know, thought I was like a G or whatever for a while. Like all those things were way too cool for Oprah. So I would have never watched Oprah, but my friend watched her all the time. Like she had to. So if I was at her house and it was that time, like we were going to watch Oprah. So every once in a while I would watch Oprah. One of the times, thank God, I watched it. I've told this story before, but I won't tell it in too much detail. I'll just share again, because what she said was, if you're a woman and a man grabs you and tries to take you, God forbid that ever happened to you, he's probably going to be bigger than you and stronger than you. And the more you fight and struggle against him, the more more easily he will take you away. And I talked about this in Surrender as a Superpower, actually. I told the whole story. And I couldn't understand that. Like, why are you fighting and stuff? It would be easier, but you're adding like this like tension, this energetic tension to it, and then it like makes it easier to take you. It's very interesting. So she said, what you actually have to do is the opposite, and it's like the only chance that most women have, and most never think of it and would never try it, but it's to become a dead weight. When you become a dead weight, you're super heavy, and you're very hard to carry. Even if you're a small woman, it's a big guy. So you become a dead weight, especially suddenly, they'll drop you because they'll throw them off balance, and you can run. And I was like, good tip. And she also talked about like hitting in the throat and the eye thing and the balls and all this little stuff. But that was an interesting one that I remembered. And it was maybe like 15 years later that a guy came on a dark street and grabbed me and started dragging me away. And I screamed for help, and all the people I screamed to didn't help me. And then I realized that I was actually being taken and abducted. It takes you a while. It's just like paranormal things. You're like, no, it can't be that. That's not normal. Like, that's not what's happening right now. It's not reality. It takes you a while, and then finally you're like, oh yeah, no, it is real. This is actually what's happening. Same exact phenomenon. So finally I was like, oh, I am actually being taken. I'm going to probably get raped to death. What else, right? What else is there? So then I remembered that. I remembered 15 years earlier hearing that. It like popped into my head, and I was like, oh shit, I have to do that right now. And I have one chance, because once they know, then they know the game. Then they're more prepared for it. So you have like one chance to really commit and like fully drop all the tension in your whole body as though you were going to hit the ground. And I did it. And AIM dropped me, and I ran away. So Oprah saved my life. And my friends was driving down a bridge at night, and an oncoming car swerved into her lane and hit her, and it flew her off the bridge, and she landed in the river. This is the same friend who made me watch Oprah with her. So like she watched Oprah so that her and I's life could be saved in different ways. And she fell into the river in her car, and she had watched Oprah, and Oprah had said, let the car fill up with water, stay as calm as you can, take deep breaths, make sure you have as much oxygen as you can, take your last breath, and then you'll wait and you'll feel the car repressurize, and then you can easily open the door and swim out. And she did all of that, and she nailed it, and she got out of the river, and she survived. Which a lot of people don't, because they fight and fight and fight, and they struggle, and they've already run out of air, and then they give up and they drown. So she had to walk like miles back to the road, sopping wet in the middle of the night. There was no cell phone and whatever. Anyways, so we both survived because of Oprah. It's not what this show is about. This show is about dragons and Archons, and we are going to get there soon. And if you are my good friend Rafa in the chat, we just did a show together. I don't know if it's out or if it's going to come out soon. Maybe Rafa can share with us over in the YouTube chat. Serena, I think I already said hello to you. Talking astrology over there in the YouTube chat. If you're any of you there on YouTube, like I said, this stream is about to end for you. And you'll have to be a supporter to see the rest of it. It'll be over on Rockfin. You can click the link below you right now and head over there. Become a supporter if you're not already. And I appreciate your support. And you get everybody else's exclusive content as well on Rockfin. So everybody who does exclusive content on Rockfin, you get for that same price. So come be a supporter of all of us. Alex says, Oprah is cabal. It's true. I agree. Dakota says, I remember when they said Oprah had enough money to buy the U.S. She probably does. Who knows what these people do? Yeah, they do. They did want Oprah to be president for a while, didn't they? It was really weird. I was like, are we going to actually have Oprah? And who else was it? It was another like celebrity person. I was like, Jesus, it's going to get really weird here. Like it's not weird enough. So let's just look at a few things before we get into the content of Dragons tonight. I always like to remind you guys of my site, rogueways.org. It is the hub for everything, and there are so many things. You can take courses from me on Thinkific. This link works now. So if you had been using it in the past, it works. You can also just go to rogueways.thinkific.com, but there's a link here on the site for you. You can click here over to the shop, get some orgone, some medicine bags, some books straight from me. All the books that I have channeled and written, I will send to you with an inscription channeled to you. And paperback, obviously. You can also get the Kindle version from me. I have only the PDF as the download on the site, but I've told you if you email me, I'll send you the EPUB. I just can't upload it to the site for some reason as an EPUB. So whatever. You can also buy those both from Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Of course, you can also just connect, reach out to me. I have a lot of testimonials. It grows all the time because all the beautiful people who I am so lucky to help and support spiritually love to share because they know how powerful it is. And so none of these people were paid. I didn't know any of them, most of them, before we ever worked together. That was the first time we had met. So it's pretty raw and honest testimonials there. I have never gotten a bad testimonial and just not shared it either. These aren't cherry picked. These are just the testimonials I get. So you can read those if you're unsure. And if you are sure, you want to click on spiritual support, then you can just schedule yourself for any of these services that I offer. So I do guidance sessions where we get messages from your guides and allies. It's usually more than that. You know, there's healing that happens in it, and I don't say that lightly. You will often have physical, emotional, mental shifts in your actual lived experience, and that's all that really matters to me. So I love that. I love that we get to get messages from your guides and allies and also have that healing come through. I do tarot readings. I do healing ceremonies and sessions. They're much more powerful and deep. Especially if you're facing something, you know, especially hard or dark, that might be a better option than a guidance session. But guidance sessions are also very powerful, so don't feel like you're, you know, cheating yourself if you do, you know, they're both good. Just, you know, if you're drawn to one, go to that one. And if you want to ask some questions first, feel free to reach out. I do coaching and talk sessions for people who just want to learn more about, for example, my own methodology, what I do and how you can do similar things, or wherever you're at on your path, what the next steps might be like. You know, just more of talking or learning rather than actual spiritual guidance and support. I do blessings if you're just in a kind of crisis moment or you just want some extra boost. Those are very powerful as well, and they're super affordable. I do sound healing. The full tuning alignment and the mini tuning alignment are both sound healing sessions. You could be anywhere in the world for any of these things. And I also consult educationally and on writing, as well as do I Ching readings. So there's lots of stuff there for you. All of those you can choose however you want. I do, again, want to share this favorite things page because I know there's so many of you who every time you go to Phoenix Aurelius and every time you buy spagyrics and tinctures from him, you make sure you're using this link, and I appreciate you so much. It is so nice to get a little kickback randomly here and there, you know, from the people who are using this and who just remember me. Thank you for your support. I know there's some of you out there that is like, you know, your mission. I just really appreciate you. And if you haven't yet started doing that, please do use my link. It doesn't cost you anymore. And if you don't even know who Phoenix Aurelius is or what he does, please go watch the 10 or more episodes we've done together. Any of them are good, but also come check out his lab. He's an actual scientist. He's a wizard. He's a spagyricist. He's an alchemist, and he creates the most potent, to beyond any tincture you've ever done. If you don't know what spagyria is, then you can't imagine how potent it is. It is the crystallized form of information from each of these plants, and it is beautiful and powerful. So especially if you're supporting your health, it's a great thing to do. This Chi-O necklace I wear every day is an IDF machine. It is tuned to give me a bunch of different types of healing. You can also support me by using this link if you are going to buy a Chi-O for yourself. I highly suggest it. The pendant is awesome. That's what I have. The bracelet is really cool too. Phoenix actually has a bracelet and a pendant on him at all times. So he's like doubling up. So you can definitely do something like that. That's beautiful, and you can support the show by doing it. And Honey Colony. We all know Miriam Hanane. I'm so sorry every time, Miriam. Hanane also has her amazing products. Honey Colony is beautiful. She has developed these things and worked with people to make the most, you know, I'll say efficient. There's just so much good stuff in one dose of whatever it is you're going for. So I just have a couple of good examples on here of the things she sells. If you use these links, then that again gives me a little affiliate boost. But you can also find so many more that I don't even have here. So I'll be talking more about with her about some of these things because she's just done an amazing job. So of course she's going to come back on the show because she's a beautiful soul. Thrive with Foster Gamble, another beautiful soul I'm lucky to be connected with. If you would like to join the Freedom Portal or watch any of his subscriber only content and you use this link, it helps me. And this last one is not an affiliate link. I just love Emily's products and I just want people to use them. So holisticemily.com. I know I've talked about them a long time ago and another time before that, but I just like to remember to bring them up sometimes because seriously, I've never had any products that last this long, that are this few ingredients that I could literally eat. And this is my own standard for what I put on my body is, could I eat it safely? And if the answer is no, then I don't want it on my skin. So all of her products you can eat. And there's seriously like 3 or 4 ingredients at most, and they're amazing and they last forever. Can't stress it enough. So, you know, creams, tinctures, all kinds of things that she makes that I highly support. So that's just my favorite things tab, and it's newer, so I wanted to stress it a bit. And now we're going to get into dragons, which means we're also going to say goodbye to everybody who's not on Rockfin right now. If you're not a supporter, you also don't get to come to the hangout after the show tonight. Sorry, but if you become a supporter, you will be, and we would love to see you there. So I will say goodbye to Rumble. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned, I am also streaming to Rumble now. So if you're a listener or a lover of Rumble, or you know people who are, then this is now a show that streams on Rumble whenever I'm streaming, not to just supporters. So goodbye, Rumble. Goodbye, Twitter. Goodbye, Facebook.